In Persona 3, 4, and 5, there's a recurring character called Tanaka. He's the host of the TV show Tanaka's Amazing Commodities, and while you can meet him in person in 3, his show and its theme song are what he's best known for. Tanaka's Amazing Commodities is a TV shopping show. Every week you can tune in and order one of the item sets they offer, and then it gets delivered a few days later. In Persona 5, Tanaka runs a shopping website instead, but it's still got a remix of the show's theme song and works pretty much the same way. Now in the main series of games, this show is basically told to you through text. This is the best look you get at what it actually looks like. In the Persona 4 anime though, we get to see what the show and its opening actually look like.
Hey everyone, here's our amazing commodity for the day. The renowned angler's tool, the explosive fishing set. This formidable fishing pole will never break. With this baby, you need only one hook and one line. Get it now and
That's perfect!
The show also has the same kind of opening in the rhythm games, so it's safe to say that this is the intended look for the show's opening. Tanaka dancing in front of the earth in space. And this is important, because this opening makes it even easier to see how Tanaka's Amazing Commodities is a big reference to a specific real-world show. In late 2020, it was reported that the game company Level 5 would be shutting down its North American division. If you don't know of Level 5, you might be familiar with their games. They're the ones behind Professor Layton, Yokai Watch, Ni no Kuni, Dragon Quest 8 and 9 alongside Square Enix, and more. The closing of the North American division seemed to imply that their new games probably wouldn't be brought outside of Japan without another company's help. At the time of this recording, a handful of their games have been announced for a global release through other companies, but they're all smaller mobile games. Their only console game to release internationally since the announcement is Ni no Kuni 2's Switch port, and that was done by Bandai Namco, and it's a game that's already released internationally for other platforms. There have been a few rumors here and there, but for the most part, the future of their games outside of Japan is still not super clear, and their international social media accounts have been quiet for quite a while. Back in 2020, a little while after this report came out when their future was even less clear than it is now, I got curious about what Level 5 was up to over in Japan, so I headed over to their website and started looking around. Their front page has basically what you'd expect. It shows off their newest games, apps, and anime series. At the bottom of the page though, there are links to various other websites, like their social media accounts and pages about subsidiaries of the company. One of these links caught my attention, the Level 5 Motion Capture Studio. This page is basically a portfolio showing off things they worked on using their motion capture studio. Front and center is their Yokai Watch exercise dance, which isn't too surprising considering it has over 220 million views across both versions they've uploaded. Below that are more examples of stuff they've done motion capture for. Most of the example videos are animation reels with the same little song playing over all of them. But among the 4 examples shown directly below the Yokai Watch ones, one really stood out to me. This one. You know how some people say Funko Pops look weird and creepy? This looks like that to me, but a million times worse. I clicked onto the example video expecting another animation reel with the same music as the other ones, but instead I got this. Now, like anyone, my first instinct upon seeing this was to throw my screen out the window and hope that it would shatter enough to prevent the video from being visible to anyone passing by. But I was also intrigued enough to stop myself from doing that. This video had over 100,000 views, and on the side of the page I saw other videos featuring characters with the same look, all with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views each. This wasn't some super niche thing. With those kinds of views, this had to be something fairly well known in Japan. When I saw the very start of the video, my first guess was that it was some kind of 3D animated show for kids, kind of like Paw Patrol or something. But when I saw how many of the characters were anthropomorphic phones and household appliances, I started to doubt that. Like, the scene shifted to customer service representatives and a warehouse at certain points. I just felt like that probably wouldn't be the focus of a kids show. And sure enough, when I translated the video's title, it was called the Japanet Takata TV Shopping Opening Movie 2011. In other words, this video and song were the opening for a TV shopping show called Japanet Takata. I checked out some of the other videos on the side of the page, and they turned out to be other versions of the opening from throughout the years. Those final few seconds should look pretty familiar. Many of these openings feature the Earth suspended in the sky or in space. When I was first watching these, I obviously didn't have all the pieces together quite yet, but I started to figure it out around this point. This was a shopping show with a catchy opening theme, guys that danced in front of the Earth, and had the name Takata in its title. That sounds pretty similar to Tanaka obviously, but if you change just one single Japanese character and swap the final two, it's the exact same as Tanaka. It's a one character difference. And after looking around a bit more, I pretty quickly found even further evidence of this being the inspiration. The Persona localizations like to leave a lot of Japanese references in them. Usually. But they still make changes sometimes to help things resonate better with an international audience. And Tanaka's Amazing Commodities is actually one of those cases, because while the show's name is Tanaka's Amazing Commodities in the English versions, in the Japanese versions it's called Japanet Tanaka. You can even hear the singer say this in the theme song. And in case you're thinking this reference would be too obscure, here's a good example of how well known Japanet is in Japan. Yokai Watch 4 is a game aimed at kids, yet there's an entire battle mechanic that's a parody of Japanet. Every so often a drone will come by and drop off some items from Yokanet. Their name and their logo are a pretty obvious reference to Japanet. And if it's well known enough to get put into a game primarily aimed at kids, there's no doubt that the older audience that would be playing Persona would pick up on the Japanet references too. So there we go. From my looking around online, I could only find one single English page that mentioned this reference, the TV Tropes page for Persona 3's social link characters. Both the TV Tropes page and the Japanese Wikipedia page for Japanet Takata mention that Akira Takata, the company's founder that the Persona version parodies, has a unique way of doing sales talk that became very recognizable and helped lead to the company's success. So I would guess that in the Japanese script of the Persona games, some of these unique traits are probably parodied as well, though I couldn't tell you what they are. It definitely seems like this is a reference that almost nobody outside of Japan knows about, so hopefully this video is interesting to people. Thanks for watching.